Hey y'all, Stacy here with two hauls in one video. I've got some things from a clearance haul and a club haul that I'm going to share with you, along with a little mini warmer watch of the warmer that is included in the July whiff box. I hope that I can get this out before the 30th of July. Um, but anyway, we will see how that goes. As a quick reminder, I do use mostly 25 watt and up Scentsy Warmers as I am an independent Scentsy consultant, and I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that we can stay in touch. Now, the first thing that I'm going to share is no surprise if you follow my community tab. One of my favorite bakery scents this is a strong one and it's not beloved by everyone in my house. This is definitely a bakery leaning bakery bar. It's Stroopwafel Delight. It smells just like those caramely, vanilla-y, creamy cookies. There's a hint of cinnamon in here, but just one of my favorites. I saw it on clearance and I was so excited to go in for it. I do think that this is a bar worth trying if you see it because it has quite a cult following. But I do know folks who don't like it. I don't hear people talk about that enough. Now, speaking of bars or bars that maybe people didn't gravitate to when it first launched, this is Fall Feelin' and it may still be in the clearance section. I'm so happy to have been able to build up my stash of this because I did not have enough of it and it's become a staple in my home. Everybody loves it. It's a potpourri leaning sort of fall bar, but it's beautiful and it performs beautifully in my open concept. So I was glad to build up my stash a little bit. Golden Garland is another one that I grabbed. This is one that I love in my open concept and hate in closed concept bedrooms, but I was glad to grab one more for an open concept melt. My Hero is a bar that a lot of people really love, so I wanted to give it another try. I think I enjoy it, but I just don't have many notes on it. I also grabbed Be Fabulous and one more red, white, and berry pie. Now, I think I have two Be Fabulouses currently in my collection and three or four red, white, and berry pies. So I'm excited to just kind of build up my stash on some of these, while others like Fall Feelin' I have in my club, and I want to do both. I want to build up my stash of them and maintain them in my club. Just because I don't put something in my club does not necessarily mean that I don't think that it's a fantastic bar or that I wouldn't really love to have access to it all the time. For me, I try and keep my club to just bars that I melt frequently enough to warrant getting a routine shipment of them, whether it's monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. And that can be really hard because I have a lot of loves and I wish I could put them all in my club, but I just can't. Speaking of my club, this is my small July club order that I put in. This is Aloha Adventure. It's the new Lilo and Stitch bar, and I am obsessed with it. It is, I think, sugared strawberry, pineapple, and raspberry. That doesn't do it justice. This is such a vibe. I have been melting this like crazy. So I wanted to put a couple of bars in my club so that I could receive it throughout these months. I'll definitely thin it out. But for licensed bars in particular, I like to put these in my club because you get the 10% discount. Now, I put two other licensed bars in my club for that reason rather than including them in a clearance order, and that is We're All Mad Here is the first one. And this is like, I think, tart plum, strawberry, fizz, and it may have a spun sugar. I'll put the notes up so that you can see them. I don't have a real vivid memory of this, so I was excited to give it another try and see what I think about it. And the Ratatouille bar. This is Bon Appetit, and it smells very much like a focaccia and a pasta dish. There is no getting around that. There are people that absolutely loathe this bar, but I love it. So it's not one that I'm going to be melting often. I think it is going to stay in my quarterly club for a while just so that I can get a couple, but it's a fun bar to try if you haven't. Now, these three are the Father's Day collection, and I think I'm probably going to pull most of these. I may keep Vanilla Oud in for a little while, but I have a good little stockpile of these, and for me, these age well and they last a long time. Like I can get 4 independent melting sessions out of each bar. So I'm unlikely to keep those in my club, but I'm glad to have them for now. And I did toss into this club to Bring Back My Bars, which I will put my reviews of the Bring Back My Bars up here in a little tab so you can see my thoughts on them, that I just neglected to add into my July order in the quantity that I really wanted them. So I tossed a couple into my club. These will both be coming out of this club though. Central Park Pralines, I love this. It's a very beautiful roasted pecans with caramel and cinnamon sugar. And then I also left out prickly pear and agave. And I have open concept melted this, and in these hotter months, I am really enjoying the bright, sweet, fruity, fresh nature of prickly pear and agave, particularly in my open concept. So I just wanted to grab a couple more, but this is not going to stay in my club. I have a lot of open concept melts that I like, but I just did want a couple more. And I do think we have some time, some additional time. I think they said Bring Back My Bars going into the first week in August. I'm not sure if that's true. I will put in the comments section below if it is, but so I don't think I have to be in a rush. I think we have a little bit more time to make those decisions, but I'm not sure. Now, the Ratatouille bar, that is definitely going away at the end of the month. And also, this whiff box goes away July 31st as well. They always say that you can't guarantee what is in a whiff box for the full length of the month. So I'm not sure if these things are all the same. I got this at the very beginning of the month. As a consultant, one of the things that I have fallen in love with is that they will put the upcoming scent of the month in the whiff box. And I love this for a couple of reasons because number one, it gives those who are not consultants early access to a limited time offer bar that they can try in the full size, which means you can get multiple meltings. So I think I really do like this. This is a beautiful smelling bar. I will say to me, I don't think I'm going to be melting this right now because this is a very earthy bar. If you like petrichor type fragrances, this is what this smells like. This is a very earthy, rich sort of bar to me. And I am going to look forward to it, but I think this is going to be more of a September kind of fragrance, but I am excited to melt it. I do just think it is too hot for me personally right now to melt that bar. So I'm glad that I can have it and melt it on a day that's a little cooler. Now, also in my whiff box was pink pineapple and sugar in the room spray. This is like palm tree, pineapple, papaya, and either sponge sugar or some sort of a sweetness. Um, I'll put the little notes down at the bottom for you to look at, but I'm definitely going to be using that one right away. I love to put those in my bathroom, just in case. Now, palm trees and ocean breeze is included in a fragrance flower, which I don't have much experience with fragrance flowers, but I love palm trees and ocean breeze and wax. It's one of my go-to open concept melts. So I think I'm going to put this in my laundry room. I am excited to see how the fragrance flower works with this. It has the oil here in the one, and then you just kind of sink in the flower, and it should give off a similar fragrance. I tend to use fragrance flowers in smaller spaces, but they do last a long time. But like with anything, they're different. Now, here we are to the warmer that's included in this. Now, this is an 8-watt element warmer, and I actually received a request. Part of the reason I'm trying to rush to get this done, I don't receive many requests. And somebody was like, can you do a warmer watch on the July warmer? And again, I don't know that this warmer is still in the whiff box, but I am happy to try and do a little warmer watch. Now, if you have not seen my warmer watch videos, you can check them out on a tab here. It's not a scientific process, but this is just the process that I take all of my warmers through to see whether or not I am satisfied with the warmer and want to keep the warmer within the first 30 days. Here is all of the electrical and safety information. Always important to look and read through that. But since he does offer a lifetime electrical guarantee, which I think is amazing, it's one of the reasons I had a strong bias towards purchasing these warmers long before I was a consultant. Um, and I really appreciate that, but I also appreciate the 30-day kind of are you satisfied guarantee. So if for any reason you're not happy with your warmer, you can return it or replace it within those 30 days. So I like to give all of my warmers a little test. Now, let me just double check. I am correct. We are an 8-watt warmer. So in my full warmer watch videos, I make sure to explain this, and I just want to explain it really quickly as I'm looking at the glaze and the feed here, just to make sure I'm pleased with everything. My warmer watches are solely based on my preferences. There is no guarantee that this is the way that your warmer will work or should work, or that my preferences will be yours. The things that irritate me may be exactly what you're looking for. One of the things that I love is flush bottoms like this. So this particular warmer has a nice flat bottom. We don't have feet. We also have a nice, relatively wide dish. Now, I'm just going to check with the largest size first of cotton cleanups. And I do think that it could easily fit that, although it is a snug fit. I'm going to grab the smaller size cotton cleanup, and this is probably where I would reach for. And then I think also let me grab just quickly a cotton ball. So that's just a standard cotton ball. I do think that there is something to this being a crackle finish. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, but there's this one corner here that does not feel, it doesn't feel bumpy, but it just feels, I can feel the coating. And I think it is underneath the hard glaze here. So I'm not overly concerned with it, but I am going to double, triple check it after I have gotten this plugged in and warmed some wax in it, just to make sure I don't think that that's going to lift over time. It doesn't feel like it, but it is like a crackle coating on this sort of coral finish, and I want to be sure that I think that it's fully sealed. And if it's not, then I would definitely reach out and ask them to swap it. But right now I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's not my favorite thing, but I really do feel like it's seated underneath that hard glaze. Now, what I do in my warmer watches, the kind of the primary star of the show, is I am going to set my phone to time lapse and put a single cube of wax in. You can see in all element warmers, when we turn the toggle switch on, we get, well, all element warmers that don't have a glow up feature, like my Minions warmer doesn't have that little element dot because the warmer itself lights up, but this doesn't light up in any way. So that little indicator light lets you know that you've left it on. So it's a great feature. Make sure that I like to make sure that works just for me personally every time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a single cube of wax here, and then I'm going to set my phone to time lapse, walk away, see how long it takes to melt that cube of wax, and then we will do a temperature check when it is done. And I am going to use my new favorite Lilo and Stitch bar. The other thing that I am going to do with this particular melt is I'm going to come back and lift the wax out just to make sure that I think that that little difference that I'm feeling is not like lifting. So I've turned it on, and I am going to drop this little cube of wax in. You'll see a timer come up, and then I will rejoin you in voiceover. I'm back from the future, so I'm rejoining you in voiceover for this small little section of the video. Now, I will not spoil for you how long that this actually took, but you can tell by the timer's movement that this is on time lapse. So you're seeing the real-time counter for how long it took the wax to melt in the lower left of your screen. And I am walking around getting about my life because nobody has time to sit around for the up to 30 minutes that it might take for a cube of wax to melt in a single dish tray like this. Now, one of the things that I will say about this particular melt is I did feel like it threw in the room very quickly. And I hear a lot of conversation about the wattage of element or hot plate warmers. And I do think the number of wattage in particular is over focused on. And the reason that I say that is I have like an 8-watt um, warmer that is that adorable little reindeer warmer from Scentsy a couple of years ago. And I did not get good throw from that, like in my open space. I wanted it to be on my mantle and let that be where it worked for me. And it could not maintain its position on the mantle because it just was not powerful enough. However, I have several other 8-watt warmers that are this sort of mod style warmer that are also from Scentsy, and they perform very well. And one of them has performed very well on my mantle in my open concept. So I don't really think wattage is that important. For me personally, I tend to be most comfortable with warmers that are 10 watts to 18 watts. But just as 8 watts or 6 watts may seem too few, I think 24 watts are way too many because one of the things that well, let me say, are sometimes way too many, particularly if it's just getting the warmer dish screaming hot. Because I do not want something that I could cook on to be melting my wax. I like for my temperature to be anywhere from 130 to 190. I don't want my wax to get over 200 degrees. And I want to be able to touch with my hand without hurting my hand the side panels of the warmer. As I say in most of my videos, I do keep my warmers on for 15 hours a day, and I won't keep in my house a warmer that kind of can't perform that way. So I just don't think that wattage matters as much as we give it focus. I understand why it's an indicator, um, but I have found that it's not as important as it is sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it's just the most important thing, particularly in element or hot plate warmers. Now, if you've seen any of my other warmer watches, you know that I do not like unmelted edges of wax. So I do understand that at this point, the majority of this wax pool is melted, but there's still that tiny little bit of hanging on. So I will wait until every inch of this wax is melted to say that's how long that it took. But I do understand that not everybody cares if every corner of the wax dish is melted. But for me, that's just one of my pet peeves. I don't like walking by and seeing an unmelted edge. So I will wait for the last little drop there to free itself and melt completely. And that is when we will call it. And that is right about now. So it took right at 21, 22 minutes to get this warmer. And I am back with you real time testing my pool of wax. So you can see right at that center point, it is like right at 160, 161. Let's try the outer edge. Looks like maybe 164. And then let's just try one more time and just drag all around the pool and get the variety of temperature reading there. So it looks like right around 160 to 165 is where this is after just about 22 minutes in my 76-degree home. So that is pretty good. I am excited about that. Now, I did have some concerns, like I was telling you, about the glaze on the bottom of that one section of the dish. So I am going to go ahead and turn this off and come back and see how removal of this wax is. All right, you guys, so I am back and I am going to have to pull this out a little early. I don't think it's fully hardened, but we have to get going to dinner. So I want to just do a quick check. I would have probably left this like 5 more minutes, but yay, I'm very happy. So that area that I was concerned about is definitely under the glaze. It's just a part of the crackle finish. And so I'm feeling pretty confident that that was nice and easy to remove. Now, because the wax wasn't fully hardened and there was still a tiny little bit there, I am going to just grab a Scentsy swipe and wipe out this little inset and see if I still feel confident. Um, and I do. This cleans out nice and easy. So this is the method that I tend to use with my Scentsy wax. Particularly if a wax stays in all day, I will just let it cool down as my warmers go off. And they need either pinch it out if it's still soft enough or scoop it out like I just did. But I do use the cotton ball method if I am Typically, if I'm removing vendor wax, yeah, that's great. So that is all underneath that glaze. So I feel super good about that, even though I can still see that. I don't love the way that looks. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'll have to look when I am editing the video because you may not be able to see it at all in that corner, but it's just a little bit of variation in the crackle coating. This is definitely under the glaze. Um, so yay, I feel excited about this particular little warmer. I do think it's cute. I love its coral. And I do love the coating. I hope you enjoyed this little mini warmer watch and watching my clearance and mini club haul. I would love to hear in the comments below, did you get any of these items? And if so, what are your thoughts? Thank you so much for watching and spending part of your day with me. Talk to you soon.